Hey, what's up? We're in the next part. I'm busy telling a story of a guy that I went on a date with that I was absolutely beside myself with adoration for, right? And I'm thinking this might be my husband. I like him so much that I'm prepared to be a stepmom to his kid despite not wanting a guy that has children or a kid, even one. I was prepared to, I made a lot of concessions for this guy. And when we were on the date, I last ended where I told you guys that he basically told me a story about his experiences in church and how much it turned him off so badly that he wants nothing to do with church anymore. It's like he was interviewing me to say, insofar as you can abandon godly stuff, I'm good with you. Herein lies the deal. I had on Facebook, this is where this guy basically was seeing a lot of my activity. I had updated a status one time when I was talking about church, about sex before marriage and everything, and one colleague, upon realizing that I was one colleague that I was a friend on Facebook with, decided that, you know, she's going to basically take me up on my offer and take me to church. And so I started to go to church, and at this point I'm going to church every weekend. I've even abandoned the club because it feels dirty inside. I'm convicted, and just at that stage where I'm convicted, my ex and I are broken up, and I'm looking like I'm headed towards heaven, then this guy contacts me, and like, remember, he is this thing that I want, like no man's business. Here it is that I'm in the stadium, and he's telling me about church, a weird thing to talk about, go stadium, but anyway, that was the only awkward conversation we had. Lo and behold, his team loses, right? So his team first starts out winning, and then his team loses. It becomes 2-1 in favor of Pirates. He was a Kaizer Chiefs fan, right? Okay, cool. I thought that this guy then at that stage I believe that he was one of those, like, if his team loses, hey man, you can't talk to him all day or sad. He's gonna drown his sorrows, early. He's gonna be moody. There are soccer fans like that. There are fans that you will literally have to take them to therapy for 2 weeks because their team lost. And I was like, oh, that's so boring. Then if you're like that, like, don't watch soccer. When in the world are you gonna be so emotional over sports? Like, goodness gracious. Like, I want to be able to still smile and laugh with you when your team has lost. Am I gonna deal with the moody husband? Because probably I was thinking he was gonna end up my husband. Am I gonna have to deal with the moody husband because his team lost? And I thought that that's how he was, because his entire disposition changed, guys. He went from very cool, calm, and we were happy like all day long, having a really good time, to now basically the day's ending, right? The day has ended, not ending, like the match is over and everything, and we gotta go, right? And he was flat. This guy he was such a comedian. He was jocose, like I said, very similar to my ex, very jocose, like never a dull moment, never silence, like weird awkward silences. He just knew how to keep a conversation running and running and running, and on top of that he was funny, so I was really laughing, right? And he was genuinely funny. I was not trying to suck up or whatever. I'm not sexist, and I've got quite a funny bone. I've got a sense of humor type thing. Anyway, so yeah, he was really just basically hand to glove fitting, but he actually wasn't. Like I said, this guy was both the devil and God at the same time. He was a good thing but a horrible thing too. But then after the second half and the team lost, his mood changed entirely. The day was basically ending and we were about to go home, and I imagined that he was one of those moody sports people. And for me it was like, okay, that's a con, like in the worst way, because soccer's always happening and he's always going to be watching it, and every time his team loses I'm going to be dealing with like a flopped boyfriend, like a fishy ass out of the ocean that like frankly can't get enough oxygen. It's struggling, it's like it's basically breathing its last air. Yeah, that was a turn off, right? And I thought that was the thing. I confirmed that wasn't the thing. I eventually came to another conclusion as to what was going on there. Anyway, we're gonna get to that point. We're walking out of the stadium now, headed to the vehicle. This is Soccer City. We're driving out. Go stadium mongse packed, so bumper to bumper right? It was just violent traffic. Okay, we were stuck in it for a minute, and when we were leaving, we were speaking about something, and then this is what he said. Just kind of dropping a joke about it. He was like, yo, he said something, and then he was like, yo, Gyalala, I don't want to turn you off. Next thing, you don't want to see me again. At which point I was like, oh, he wants to see me again. I guess this very potentially might actually end up something, you know? Like what was going on with this guy? Like I told you, our conversation was not light. We were not talking about the weather or even soccer. It's like he was interviewing me for a relationship. He gave me information on his date about heavy things that matter very dearly and nearly and deeply to him, and I was pleasantly surprised by it, which is why I say that if we had gone to a restaurant, we would have fallen in love, because we would have spoken literally all day in a quiet space and likely all night. But thankfully it was a soccer stadium, so that didn't happen. Okay, and we nearly actually sat at a restaurant the next day, but then something again blocked it. I would have literally easily gone into the sunset with this guy. I was going to be a real stumbling block for him. I was going to be a real problem for the girlfriend. I was going to be the bane of the existence of the girlfriend. I was going to break that woman's heart because I think I was going to win this guy. Anyway, whatever, and that would have been uncomfortable for me, but I would have told myself that these things happen. I would have made like Alicia Keys with Swiss Beats proper. I just would not, I would have been like, I'm sorry, but you know, this is life, girl. Yeah, that's how I was prepared to be that. Anyway, I'm still lost. But if at all I had been with this man, I was never going to give my life to Jesus. He was going to block it, prevent it, and I was going to love him too much to basically just pursue God. I was just going to drop what he wanted me to drop. I was going to capitulate. I was going to bite. That's what I'm getting at. And God blocked it. Alright, so here it is that we're in the car now, bumper to bumper, barely moving. It's quiet. The car is a quiet environment. It's not as loud as the stadium. And so he started to like really pour out more details about his life. This dude was interviewing me for replacement status. It's like, dude, if you're busy interviewing a woman to replace your woman, maybe just like me, admit that this is not where you want to be. This is not where you want to be. And this is not where you want to be. You are trying to see if you can't leave your woman for me, what's wrong with your relationship? Because I'm pretty sure this is not just about my beauty or whatever. You're being all deep all up in my grill. Like, what's going on? There is a connection. Like I said, problem is brewing. He told a story about his ex-girlfriend who passed away. Unfortunately she was sick, and I was able to put 2 and 2 together eventually only when I gave my life to Jesus as to why he decided to sort of kind of groom me to understand he hates church. I only was able to put 2 and 2 together later. A lot of 2 and 2s I only put them together later, but in the run-up to, man, was God rescuing me. First of all, he told me the story about how, you know, it came that he's got a daughter now. He felt like he was trapped by some girl that wanted him to stick around, but then all that came out of that was a baby, and he loves his daughter, but really frankly he's not with the baby mama type establishment thing. And so I was like, okay, cool, like he loves his daughter, great, that's lovely. A man should indeed take care of his female child and his male child, but who does not love a doting dad over a girl child, right? So that was an attractive facet of him. Like his love for his daughter, really, I found it incredibly adorable. I loved it because I am a daughter of a deadbeat dad. So when a dad loves his kid, even after separation or divorce or breakup with baby mama, it takes a lot of absolute honor for a man to get that right. So he got that right, and I respected him for that, right? Yeah, very well. Cool beans and bananas. Cool. So the daughter thing was out the way, and I was prepared to be baby mama like a proper was. Like, I liked him enough. Okay, Menge and Jeff, and you hold on to my guns. Because of that. I also loved kids, but despite loving kids, I didn't want to be a stepmom, because kids can give some people like step parents problems, you know, whatever. That's another story for another day, something I've spoken about in other parts, in other pieces of mine. We're not gonna labor. Then he told me a really deep story. He spoke about an ex-girlfriend of his that was basically mediachache when he was growing up. Remember, this is the Zama that was very handsome that my cousin and her girl was spazzing over, and they basically said that this is the hottest guy in the crew. He looks like Eric Benet. Apparently, allegedly, literally around the same time that my cousin was spazzing, and also my friend was spazzing over this guy he had, Imedi, from high school, right? So he was not even like trying to be with all different kinds of other chicks. There was one girl that he was looking at longingly and lovingly into the face of in school, as a kid, and high, right? And this girl, like everything that happened with me, I think this guy was just getting goosebump mega tugile. On my Facebook, I was busy interrogating questions. Remember, I'm investigating the things of God. I believe something about me reminded this man of his ex, and my trajectory was also eerie to him because I did exactly what this woman did. Remember, I was busy uploading on Facebook, talking. At some point, I typed in a post, a comment, like a post. And on that post, I was like, guys, what do you think about sex before marriage? If somebody told you that God is not content with it, basically, I did a poll, and my friends went in and replied on some, I don't know, it depends, you know. My cousin was like, no way, I want my goods. Yeah, I got like some pretty interesting responses on that post. So this guy was busy reading all the stuff that I'm doing, and he's like, oh my goodness, man, she's busy asking questions about sex before marriage. The eerie similarities between me and his ex were, I think, I don't know, this dude felt, it's like he was suffering from a very severe case of deja vu. Anyway, whatever. So here is this guy. I'm on a date with him. He then starts telling me a deep story of an ex-girlfriend that passed away because she was very, very sick. However, before she fell sick, he cheated on her. And that's how his baby came about. That's how his girlfriend came about. Not girlfriend, but his daughter, right? It was the child of a side chick that he was cheating on her with. Not because he was a cheating kind of guy, but because he was not being given sex by her anymore, because she made a decision that she doesn't want to have sex because Ubile born again. She got saved. I didn't know what in the world was good. Like I knew what born again was. I was attending Rhema, right? But at that stage, I had not been saved yet, but I was pretty much passing that kind of, they were giving that kind of energy or vibe to my current boyfriend. Not current, we were broken up. I was not on a date. I would not have gone on a date with this guy if I was still with my ex, okay? My ex and I in the season were broken up. So I basically stopped having sex with my boyfriend, I told you. And the thing that broke us up was the fact that I finally capitulated to fornication. And in capitulating, he acted a fool, ran away, and his mom, you know that story, called him. For 3 days he was gone, and then I dumped him. I was annoyed. Okay, my boyfriend, my ex, the same thing that I did to him. Suddenly I'm out here in these streets getting born again. And because I'm busy getting born again, I'm like, I can't do sex. And my ex is like, but why? We've been doing it all along. And I was like, because of God. I don't know. I feel convicted that I need to stop. I shared some of this journey on Facebook, but I hinted to it that, what do you guys think about sex before marriage, to a poll? And this guy was checking out my statuses. So I believe, first of all, he likely was drawn to me because I probably look like that girl. And then here it is that this woman that reminds him of someone goes on right ahead to literally have a conversation similar to the one that my girlfriend was having. Okay? We were having sex, and the next thing she was like, I can't anymore. Why? Because I'm convicted that sex before marriage is wrong. She got saved. And then he cheated on her because of that. He cheated on her with some other chick because she wouldn't have sex, because she was convicted of sexual sin, but she never walked away from him. She never left him. Exactly what under heaven was going on with me and my ex at the time. Because even though I was convicted of sin and I was trying to walk with God, my boyfriend was not even trying to do it. He was like, whatever, do whatever you want to do, and I will do whatever I want to do. At that stage, the Bible is not really heavy in my life. I don't understand that unequal yoking is wrong. So it was not an immediate reaction in me to leave my boyfriend, because now I was intrigued by Jesus. I thought that we were still going to get married and do this thing. It's not that I want to leave him. It's that I just don't want to have sex outside of marriage. So yeah, when you don't know the scriptures, you're going to stay with a boyfriend that doesn't make sense. This chick did the exact same thing, and this guy cheated on her and had a baby with the other lady, decimated her heart, broke her. If my ex had done that, I would have also been incredibly decimated. She dumped him, but just like me, she just could not stay gone. She just could not leave. Like, she could not stay gone. She was in love with him. Type establishment thing. After all, he did look like Eric Benet. She was in love with him. And so even after he made a baby with another woman, he groveled and begged and groveled and begged and groveled and begged and groveled and begged, and then she finally was like, fine, I'll let you back in. So she basically accepted the fact that her man had made a baby with another woman. Like all the rubbish that we take from dudes, right? Yeah, however, unfortunately, she was very sickly. She got sick and she capitulated to her sickness. Like, it took her out, right? And what he did to her in the run-up to her death, basically the cheating, basically the other baby. Once a person has passed away, a person feels so guilty for, like, even if you didn't kill her, even if you did not bring the pain that was in the body, just the fact that you endured someone that is now late, that you loved, through any kind of pain, you're just gonna carry around a weight of sorrow. She went to be with Jesus in glory. Amen. I will one day meet her. In the sky she will rise first. That's what's good. Then I will be caught up in the air to meet the Lord with the dead who will rise in Christ. She made the right decision. Before her life left her body, she had a good relationship with God. Here it is that this guy is watching this like random, weird, odd, freaky horror movie of some strange woman that he met in training that is literally spazzing the same kinds of vibes as his ex that passed away, whose heart he broke. And his guilt was just all consuming. From what I understand, it was not even that long, maybe like, I don't know, 4 perhaps years, maybe 3 since she had passed away from that date, right? It was not long. And by the time she passed away, I don't know if they had broken up or what, or if they were still together. However, when a person is solidly convicted of Jesus, they become a massive turnoff in the beginning of their walk with Christ to unbelievers. And I believe this guy felt like Jesus took his girlfriend away. He believed that Jesus endured her through what she ought not have been endured through, and basically their relationship was crumbling towards the end of her life because of his enmity with the Christ that she was now serving. And so he developed animosity, and a very great deal of it, hostility with Jesus, with the church, with Christianity. And that is why he just lambasted me with that conversation in the stadium where he was talking about his incredible disquiet with Christianity. I don't know if the story that he told with his boy basically being given a whole bunch of grief in a church was true, but one thing that was certain is that this guy had laid a foundation for me in the stadium to let me know that if you and I are going to be together, if we're going to try and kick it, you're going to sort of kind of have to not lambaste me with the Jesus thing, because I'm not doing this again. Like, you're not going to endure me through nostalgia. You're not also going to give me a second experience of my ex-girlfriend. And on top of that, that, frankly, I cheated on her, even though that's not what I'm about, because she wouldn't have sex with me. I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm not going to accommodate you the way that I accommodated her, because Kataza this thing. He was given an enmity against Jesus because of what happened to his ex. I was not solidly convicted in Christ at this point, but I was being told that if you want us to be together, I will dump the whole world, abandon your gindo, because I really dig you, but you can't be a Christian. He didn't say it in so many words, but the hints he was dropping them, blasting them like proper radio poof poof in my ear, high and low, and I knew that if I had literally released my bra strap and let him hang, I would have fallen violently for him. But I restrained myself because he was still with a girlfriend, and I did not want to be strong alone, right? I restrained myself and I did not allow myself to fall. That was the conversation that we had. It was a lengthy one and it broke my heart. I was basically bordering on being teary-eyed because he was in a lot of pain. You could tell when he spoke about it, there was a lot of emotion in there, and I was like, why would this guy share something so deep with a woman that he just intends to just kind of pass by? I wasn't sure if he's trying to make out of me a one-night stand or what, or if but he was telling me deep important things. He had told me a lot about his daughter, so basically he's priming me for, if you're going to be with me, you're gonna have to be prepared to be the stepmom of my daughter whom I love, and on top of that, like, you can't be doing no church. Like, I'm not trying to do that. I ain't feeling it. Like, no. Yeah, okay, I kind of got that. I wasn't even in of myself too serious about Jesus, but I was interrogating the things of Christ. And then we ultimately got out of like traffic, right? It took all of that conversation took us out of traffic. We stopped idling bumper to bumper, and now we were free rolling on the highway, and it was only like 5 or 10 minutes before we got home. And once we got out of traffic, remember, his mood had flattened, and I thought it was because he lost the match, like his team lost. But then when we were in the car, I guess he got over Tabaure, they lost, and we spoke about very deep things, right? Or at least I was listening to him talk about a lot of deep stuff. We got out of traffic, and when we were out of traffic again, the dude was just so flat and somber, and I was like, Batung, is this really still about pirates winning? He was starting to be kind of standoffish. Is this about pirates winning? Exactly, like that's what I'm thinking at the top of my brain. Because he was obviously sad. He was visibly sad, like poignantly sad. And I was like, yo, I'm a sports fans. I can't. Lomuntu was a change mood gangaga. And I later came to discover why under heaven he was as sad as he was. It had nothing to do with the fact that no parents baluzile image, right? I am deactivated from Facebook at this point. Very well, sisters. I go home. He drops me off endly, right? We didn't have to go to MTN because after all we used his car, remember? And the bus yako MTN would drop off the clients and they would get in their cars and go. Type establishment thing. He took me home. And he parked. This is a man that what is this? Remember, I didn't let him come into my apartment. I knew he had a crush on me, feelings and stuff like that. Remember, I told you that my ex-boyfriend on our first date, our first kiss, he did not touch me. He kept his hands here. I was thinking that this guy's gonna try and exploit the situation and lean in for a kiss or something, cause like really, he wants to have his bread buttered on both sides. But decency kicked in. He was literally such a decent guy. Here it is that he's now, parked near my apartment, and then he like sat there and he was like, okay, well, it was really great. I enjoyed myself. He didn't. I was disappointed that he didn't get out the car and try to hug me. So I made a decision to reach out to him and hug him and be like, bye. I was not trying to get him to kiss me because I didn't want him to. I was like, this is not a date where I'm dealing with a guy who's single, I'm single, he's single, and the two of us are trying to see if we can't be together. No, this is a man who has a girlfriend, and I'm pretty sure he still has one, and I was not about to allow him to make out of me a side piece. It was already sort of dark right now, right? Ebsugu. When I was at the stadium, yes, he asked me to his wallet, he was busy carrying it around and his hands dangling, so he was like, please hold on to this for me, because he was up and down with his clients and what have you. So I put it in my purse, I put it in my bag, in my handbag, his wallet, I put it in my handbag, and I completely forgot that it was there, and so did he. Type establishment thing. Anyway, so he was very sad and he was busy, like almost like it was a combination of things. And what I conclude was going on with this guy, like I said, I leaned in to hug him, following which I was like, okay, goodbye. I expected that he would try to kiss me, like just sort of kind of move his head, tilt his head in a way once you exit a hug, so as to basically just plonk yourself on a woman's lips. He didn't try to seduce me, he didn't try to kiss me, he didn't even try to get out of his car. Remember, this guy's a gentleman, the kind to open doors and stuff for women, so I even expected that he would indeed get out of his car, basically park, get out of his car, walk me to my door, and then go into his car. That's just what he was about. But something was flat in him, so he was just like, it was great, I had a good time. Basically, he was saying, him goodbye, fine, get out of my car. But not rudely. He wasn't rude about it. But the way that he said goodbye to me, given what a good time that we had that night, that day going into night, I was surprised at how coldly we sort of kind of broke off from each other, right? Nonetheless, I gave him a hug because that was what was decent type thing. And when I broke out of the hug, I was basically about to tell him, no, we're not doing this. You've got a girlfriend. You're not going to kiss me, right? But he didn't even try. So I broke off from him and I was like, okay, very well, good night. I opened the door, exited, and then he like drove off. He drove off. Oh yeah, he drove. Yeah, okay, no, he drove off. That's all that was, right? With that, he drove off, and I went to my apartment, walking down the stairs to head to my apartment, and I was like, what was that? What just happened? Why was he so flat at the end? Was this really about the soccer match? But as I was in my apartment, really thinking hard about what in the world happened there, I was like, maybe he felt guilty for the whole day because he's basically cheating on his girlfriend. He was low-key cheating on his girlfriend with me because he obviously was allowing his feelings to have a field day with him. He made it clear that he wanted to see me again, or at least that's what he was saying at the stadium. A type establishment thing, but then at the end of the night, he just went sort of kind of, flatlined. He flatlined. And I was like, why did this guy flatline? What happened to inspire that flatlining in him? What happened? I couldn't understand. What the words I had saying, Mona, right? So then I go to, so then while I'm busy wondering when's I got in my apartment, I'm like, getting into more comfortable clothing, I get a call from him, and I'm thinking that, whoa, that's quick. Like, you've already arrived at your, your apartment, because literally it was within like 5 minutes that he called me. He literally was still in my neighborhood. I am pretty sure of it. He probably had not even reached the first robot on that street when he called me. And I'm like, hey, that was quick. I made a joke because I knew there was no way that he was already in Pretoria. I was like, wow, you got home fast, type establishment thing. He was like, no, I forgot my wallet in your bag. And I was half expecting him to be like, I'm U-turning and I'm coming back. Please make sure that the security opens for me. Don't yet go to sleep. I need to get my wallet. And you know what he said? It's like he was buying time. Because of that, I concluded that guy was sad because just he was, that song Stilo that I made a joke about. I don't know if it's Stilo, but remember that old school song? I'm in love with these two chicks. I don't know which one to pick. Na. Am I confused because I want none of them? Because I don't want to lose none of them. Whatever that song. I'm in love with these two chicks. You know that song. I feel like that's what was going on in this dude. He had put himself in a position to fall in love with another woman, and now he was just ambivalent. He didn't know how to tear himself apart. He did not want to break the heart of his girlfriend, but he was falling heavy, hard, strong, and hectically for another woman. And I came to that conclusion because, like I said, he called me just a little 2 to 5 minutes after driving out. He could have just done a U-turn. Lomuntu hlale Pretoria. PTA, do you understand? This is Rodiport. This is Honeydew. It's a distance. The only time you should be trying to cover that kind of mileage is because you're coming to work on Monday, yo. Ain't no need for you to be out there in these streets, traveling, insisting on finishing your trip to Pretoria, and then coming back to Rodiport this side to collect the wallet when you are just 2 minutes away from my apartment, 2 to 5 minutes away from my apartment. You could just do a U-turn. It makes business sense, economic sense, mileage sense, petrol sense, financial sense, and all different kinds of sense. Unless, of course, you want to buy time with the woman that you want to see one last time. He said, "She wallet yam in your bag by mistake. I just wanted to let you know. I'll come and collect it tomorrow." This guy's like 5 minutes away from my apartment. He's like, "I'll come and pick my wallet up tomorrow. I'll phone you in the morning and we'll make arrangements as to where to meet. I'll come and collect my wallet tomorrow." I was like, so you are gonna drive from Pretoria to Clearwater Mall or to Honeydew Rodiport, my apartment, wherever I might find myself tomorrow. You are gonna go out of your way to drive from your apartment far away, N1, north, but this time south. Basically, off it there, Kirli office building where you work, 14th Avenue off ramp, and then like do a whole bunch of circles on Hendrik Potgieter to reach my apartment, go Honeydew, and then drive back to Pretoria. When you're just 2 minutes away, guy, it's not even like we came from a stadium. It was maybe like 10, 11 at night. He could not have been that tired. Plus, he wasn't drunk. He had only drunk 1 or 2 beers. I was like, dude, I did not argue with him because I wanted to see him too. But I understood at that stage that this is a man that's buying time. He wants to see me again literally the next day. I told you, if I had sat in a restaurant with that dude, we would have fallen in love sort of kind of inseparably, and it was over for the girl. Like, she would never alibon because he wanted to spend time with me. He wanted to hang, to sit and talk, but he was ambivalent, he was torn, and he knew that he was going to be breaking apart a long-term relationship. And again, this is not a dude that can just move from relationship to relationship. He's got a daughter that already knows this chick. So there's a lot that he would have to tear apart. Like this, his baby girl would have to find out that I guess you're not going to be seeing this girl anymore, and then introduce her to Karabo. But before then, he'd have to be sure that Karabo is the way to go. But Karabo please, is born again thing, and I've got experience in the past with a woman that got saved, and frankly, I'm not trying to do it. I don't want to be saved. I don't care to be saved. I don't even think I need to be saved, and I don't want no woman that's going to be like giving me grief because she doesn't want to have sex. So this dude was in between worlds in the worst way. And then he contacts me 2 minutes away from my apartment, tells me that he'll come and pick up a wallet the next day. Right? He was indeed looking to live in my neighborhood because he was working for MTN. But before he before he was able to move to my hood, he was still traveling from very far. Before he could move to my hood, he was still traveling from quite far. Alright? And he was prepared to do all that, and like I said, I wanted to see him again. Something inside me told me because he had already done this to me before. We that day when we walked down from phase 1 to phase 2, I never heard from him again. He ghosted me, so I was like, he's stringing me along, and I'm not doing it. It hurts, like proper, because I actually do like him, but I would not let myself fall for this guy because you're not so decide what in the world is going on out here with him, right? So I low-key understood that I was not going to see him again, especially because of how much he got flat at the end of the day. But then there was the miracle of the wallet in my bag, and this miracle of the wallet made sure that I could see him again. So I wasn't complaining. But because of the way that he was so flat and odd, kind of strange with me, I imagined that all that he would be doing is picking up the wallet. So I basically was like, I'm going to run my errands and do whatever I want to do. So he calls me in the morning, right? First thing, he's like, hey Garab, how are you? I'm good. He's sounding better. He's sounding like, frankly, he's not dead yet, right? Oh no, before the morning, this guy, I went on Facebook because of his disposition, because of how he was just kind of flatlining in a way that I picked up, right? I decided to reactivate my account. I went on Facebook, guys, and I went in his profile, and lo and behold, the first thing that I happened upon was a status update, not a status update, but a post on his wall by his girlfriend, where she was basically like, LOL, my team won, your loss, I'm really gonna give it to you when you come here because my team won. Okay, so that's when I was like, what the heck kind of double life is this guy living? What kind of double life is he trying to start living? I realized why he was flat at the stadium was not because his team lost, because his girl knew him well enough to understand that if he was the kind of person to be very somber after losing, that she would not just put insult in his injuries. If he was one of those soppy, sappy, sporting people that ruin their days because their team lost. His girl was teasing him. She was a Pirates fan. He was a Kaizer Chiefs fan. And she posted on his wall after her team won and was like, oh, LOL, Nina, my team won, your team lost. Oh, I'm gonna give it to you. That status update, it made my heart sink into my stomach because this dude went on a date with me, and the whole time he was chatting with his girl after his team scored, he probably was like, my team scored. And then her team scored, and she sent him a text likely saying, we are 1-on-1. And then her team scored goal number 2, and then at goal number 2, and then finally the match is over, she put on his wall, my team won, I'm gonna give it to you. The whole time he then came and sat with me and had a conversation with another woman. I mean, the level of betrayal. I felt so bad for the chick, and I understood therefore why he likely got flattened. He was guilty. This guy was in between worlds. The conclusion I made about his torn state because of him wanting to see me again the next day, I confirmed it by going on Facebook and finding his girlfriend having posted on his wall teasing him for the loss of his team. So I realized that this is not the kind of guy to sob all day because his team lost, because his girl dissed him and teased him for losing, meaning that he likely didn't take it too harshly. He's got emotional maturity like that. It was a relief, but at the same time, it was a relief that he wasn't a sappy kind of dude. But at the same time, it was a sobering moment to realize that it's not going to end well, not for anybody. I thought about everything. The fact that I dated 3 guys from his high school, 2 of whom likely he still knows goes and meets and every so often. One of whom broke my virginity. Like, this can't work. Another one of whom is actually really close with him to a point where his pics are on Facebook. That's the first thing. Unale Medi, a long term. He's got a child that knows this Medi. This guy would have to rip his life apart to accommodate me, and frankly, go into an icy cold enmity with two of these boys if he insists on staying with me. And I would just ever be this taboo thing that would ever be known in those circles as, yo, this girl, man, did she frequent our crew of guys, and now she's like kicked an innocent woman out of the picture. I was gonna be made to look like a monster. He did not know that facet of the story. He didn't know my link to his general circle from the past, and I did not tell him either. But he was eventually gonna happen upon him. So that was something else that was probably going to just, it was. I concluded that this is not gonna end well. I concluded it will not end well, especially considering he was still in contact with his ex, not ex, current. He never ever broke up with his girlfriend. Sorry. Yeah, no. When I saw that status update, I was like, this is not working. It's cool. And I don't want to be strung along. I really don't want to do it. But you know, his wallet is in my purse. So tomorrow, I'll just give him his wallet. Kausani, I'll just give him his wallet. And this will be like pretty much the end of the road. And I can't let go. It's so natural. Ooh, you belong to me. Ooh, I belong to you. Hashem. Wait, like this guy, what's going on between us? It was like next lifetime, yeah, Erica Badu. First time that I saw you, boy, it was a warm and sunny day. All I know is that I wanted you. I really hoped you looked my way. Then you smiled at me so warm and sweet, I could not speak. And you made me feel like a little bitty girl. What do you do to me? Well, what am I supposed to do when I want you in my world? But how can I want you for myself when I'm already someone's girl? I think I'll see you next lifetime. It was one of those. I was like, so but a next lifetime guy. If there was an alternate dimension, I dig you. And you and I would have made for a perfect couple. Wish I'd never met my ex. Wish I had never gone to Leondale that one fateful summer. Wish I'd never done any of that. Because then I would never have met the ex that broke my virginity. Or even your boy. That was my first kiss. And I also would have never had to deal with it. Because then it would just make everything, a little bit easier to kick some female out of the way. I would not look like some harlot that keeps on playing musical chairs between guys. Like, I was supposed to meet you first and it didn't happen. Instead, I met, your boy and your boy first. So, no, it's not like that. Well, what am I supposed to do when I want you in my world? But I'm not trying to have my reputation dragged through the mud like that. I'm not doing it. I come from being a maid for 5 years, well respected in those circles. I'm not gonna go and be the harlot or no innocent castena. So, no. I think I'll see you next lifetime. Except there is no next lifetime except for eternal life in heaven. So I guess it'll never happen. Next time I'ma make you mine. Ooh, not. I sobered up. I realized that I lento lies or sevens. Let's just accept. Let's move on. Let's be mature. Let's just be mature. Yeah, no. You'll take your wallet to Obudi and then we'll go separate ways. That's what I made a decision to do. I'm gonna go and take a shower after this so I can come back and try and finish the story tonight, because frankly I've been rapping on for too long and my voice hurts. It's already 10 p.m. at night. That's what I made a decision to do. However, the next day, he called me. I had seen that status update on Facebook. I put 2 and 2 together that guy was sad, not because his team lost, but because he was breaking his girl's heart, and he was torn in love with 2 chicks. He don't know which one to pick. And I was like, you know what, I'll do you a great, excellent service and favor, and I will back out. It's cool. You ain't gotta choose. I'll leave. I'll leave. I'd convicted myself that that's what I'm doing. I knew that I was literally going down a rabbit hole that I would not be able to take in my stride. I shouldn't even agree to that date. But then the next day I met him. The next day I saw him, dude. He called me first in the morning. He was like, I gotta run a couple of errands first, and I'm gonna eventually drive by your neighborhood and whatnot to collect my stuff. And I was like, okay, look, instead of coming to my apartment, I'm meeting with my girl at the mall type thing, because my friend and I indeed were supposed to meet at the mall to go and do stuff, right? I was like, I'm meeting with my girl at the mall, so just let me know where you're at. When you're driving down here, you might actually find me at Clearwater Mall, right? Me and Clearwater Mall. Yeah, I was like, you might actually find me at Clearwater Mall. mall. So it's ideal actually if I'm at the mall, because it's even closer for you than my apartment, which is further inland, right, from where you would off ramp. He's like, okay, cool, no, I'll let you know 15 minutes prior just to find out guy where you at. Utugupi, he was Zulu. He was not about that. Like Zwana. My boyfriend, my ex, was also Zulu, but he spoke Zwana with me. This dude was sticking to his Zulu guns, like 24 hours a day. He was not about to go and compromise for no lady. Anyway, whatever. I went to the mall, and yeah, well, when I was at the mall, just as I had arrived actually at the mall, he calls me and he's like, I'm 10 minutes out. I was like, oh, okay, I'm at Clearwater. He's like, okay. I gave him the directions and what have you. And you know, guys, you're lonely. This guy, whoa, he's such a hot guy. He's so handsome, but he was also so incredibly violently similar to my ex. Remember I told you guys that my ex-boyfriend, our first date, when I met him, he was wearing these like sandals, the tlapatlepe, and some jeans and just like a basic t-shirt, and his shades, he had put them in his shirt. And then we went on a date, and I thought that he was just looking so smart, casual, cool, like relaxed, and he smelled good. He looked great, cleanly shaven. I have a thing about men who are cleanly shaven. That dude literally carbon copy of the day when it's like history was repeating itself. There was a funny glitch in the matrix there going on. First of all, I was similar to his ex, and he was similar to my ex. Got to certain me, I was like, yes, then I'm gonna repeat history line. Yo, the devil was like, I'm gonna repeat history. I'm gonna make her meet the same man, and he's going to meet the same girl, and the same outcome is gonna happen. She's gonna get hurt something bad, and he's going to be the cause of her pain because she's going to want ujesu. Exactly, like the interdimensional connections, make weird lana, metaverse white vibes. That's what this was, a supernatural weird little thing, an orchestration of a diabolical nature that got like literally thwarted and like dead on the spot. Where it is that I met this guy for to collect mazaza, not mazaza, sorry, to collect walateja, was outside the restaurant where my ex and I had our first date in JB's corner. Like, yeah, my ex, when I met him, it was inside the mall. This dude, when I met him, he was outside the mall, and he was standing in front of the water feature, and mazaza, and he looked really handsome, and the shades he was wearing, lo and behold, Ray-Bans, just like my ex's shades that were inside his little pockety thing were also Ray-Bans. Guys, nothing is everything supernatural. Please go paribueng mo life is spiritual. Sure, I say go try le begi mo. Yo, sorry, I gotta take that out. Yo, namudimung too sorry to erase that because then I mentioned my ex's name. Hey, Ebatung, I mentioned my ex's name. Lord help me take that out. Nonzi, he looked like Nonzi. I gotta take this out, guys. I'm gonna go take a shower and we will come back and talk. Life is supernatural. Bye.